Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac,
I'm Wesley.
and this is the show. We beat Medicaid.
Yeah, man. You back on this one right here. It's been about 2 days now, day and a half, whatever now. So we kind of getting to a point to where we can have the conversation, and I don't feel so messed up about it. But like I said, the more I look back on the whole, we're talking about the presidential debate. Obviously, if anybody is not understanding what he's trying to
yes, I was
do
talking
with the
about
stuttering right there.
The current president, I guess.
Yeah, the current president. It was like I said, he had a bad debate, and it's not even just a bad debate. It was even worse than a bad debate. It was like more.
We're not talking Michael Jackson bad. No, we're talking like you got to a theme park and your pants ripped bad.
Yeah,
we're talking you went to the movies after the buffet and you got diarrhea bad.
It was a lob over. It was an easy lob over the plate. He could have knocked that out the park. Easily beat Trump. He didn't even have to. In my eyes, he didn't even have to resoundingly beat him. Just be coherent. Your policies have done great in my eyes. Again, for what I know and for what I see just in world issues and kind of what's going on around the world, you're doing a very good job.
He wasn't even coherent enough to press Trump on his lies. That's the bad part about it. He could have been like, yo, answer the question. Trump didn't answer nary question. They were like, Trump, what do you think about childcare? He's like, let me tell you about the border. The border is secure. The way we're going to do it. I'm like, bruh, he didn't answer a single, he had maybe like one or two questions. And then, black jobs, that's another thing everyone's on. I know what they mean by black jobs. Like,
tell me what you think they mean by black jobs.
They're taking the black jobs, picking fruit.
Is that a black job?
That's what they expect when you're out there picking shit.
You know what I mean? And in all honesty, it's a fact. That's what they're talking about, because this is a blatant lie that they keep on pushing about immigrants are taking your jobs. This has been going on for hundreds of years. First, it was us. There's other immigrants too that would come along. They had Italians who would come across. They tell people that. Then they have black people. You don't want those black slaves who are now no longer slaves to come in and take your job. This has been a consistent.
What's crazy? They're like, immigrants are taking your job. No, machines are taking your job.
AI is taking your job.
Walmart's about to go to 85% automated.
They said
85%.
50%. They want 50% of their phones by 2030 to be made by AI. You know what I'm saying? By AI robots by 2030. That's pretty quick. I know that we don't make a lot of the phones here in this country, so that looks like, but that's a trickle effect. Those jobs are going to go to somebody. So somebody's going to outsource their jobs over there to give them something else to do, which is probably something that you're going to
think about. That 85% of the Walmart stores will be automated. They already have the self-checkout. They got one person at the register these days. They won't need anybody else. They're going to be able to dictate. They're going to have software to know who's stealing and who's not.
Didn't they say they want to manage by too? Isn't that one of their stores managed by AI? Is that true?
I think it's just they want 85% of the whole store automated. So basically AI robots. Fast food. Them jobs are going to robots.
Yep.
All this. You're worried about. Forget the immigrants and the people coming in. They're not going to have no work either. You know what I'm saying?
I think we worry too much about immigrants, man. Like, what job has an immigrant ever taken from you? Let's name one. I don't know anybody who's ever like, man, this immigrant just took my job.
Landscaping. Actually, it all started with landscaping. That's what it was. So when Obama got in the office and we had that first recession, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people had stupid jobs. It's like, hey, a lot of people had jobs where like somebody would make like a box or whatever, and your job was to put a sticker on it. And a lot of those people were like, oh, you had stupid jobs. Let's keep it real.
That were going to be taken anyways by AI.
Yes, exactly. So what people did, they're like, hey, what job can pay more? They were like, hey, let's do landscaping. But as people started to go around, European Americans, the people were like, no, I got, not to be racist, I got Jorge over here that does it. And that's what it was.
How many people who are like, what do you call them again? Legacy Americans or whatever you want to call them, whether they're white, black, or whatever, we're doing landscaping.
They weren't. That's what I'm saying. But they're looking for jobs that they could do that were easy and they're manual jobs. And it all came down to landscaping. That's the whole reason.
The manufacturing base being wiped out was the biggest hurt to this country. More hurt.
But that's like more of the 60s, 50s.
60s, 70s, 80s.
I'm talking like 90s. 2010, 2012. That's when those people they wanted. That's why they're immigrants. It's all about landscaping. That's all it is.
Listen, if we're in a huge recession, they're not going to want a landscaping job because there's not going to be as many landscape. There's not like if you're in a recession, there's not like there's a vast amount of rich people out there. I get my yard landscaped. And so
do you?
Yes, I do.
Amazing.
So I mean,
a lot of people do. And a lot of people pay good money to get their yards landscaped.
But what I'm saying is, so that's not. But what happened in a recession? Those people who are normally getting their yard landscaped are probably not going to get their yard landscaped. They don't have a job probably, or they've lost wages, or whatever the case may have been.
I'm just saying that was the cause of it. You can go back to it because a lot of people were like, "Yo," because they thought, "Yeah, I could go here and do this yard, do this," but they saw those jobs were already taken, so they're like, "Dang." And a lot of people, white Americans feel like that's whatever is in this country is theirs. So, they're stealing our jobs because ain't nobody going out there picking strawberries. Ain't nobody care about picking grapes.
What I would say is that he's definitely got away with just basically being able to lie, saying stuff like with the anti-abortion law, basically like, "Oh, well, you guys just take babies out the womb," and
he's like, "You kill them after they're born." I'm like,
I've never heard of that my entire life.
I've heard of late term abortions. I've known, like, if the baby is going to die anyways, or there's something medically wrong, they do that. But I've also known of girl that actually had an abortion when she was like 7 months pregnant. A guy was like, he's like, this girl asked me to give her a ride to Seattle. She wanted to have an abortion. I was like, 7 months? You might as well just have the baby. Like, the hell's wrong with you? That's monstrous stuff. I understand that. I don't believe in late term abortions unless it's medically necessary.
I didn't never even know anybody who's gotten an abortion.
I knew one person that got a late term.
They're allowed to give you an abortion. I didn't even.
There's a doctor. There was a doctor in Seattle that would do it.
I mean, but even still.
But that baby's kicking. You can give that baby a name. You can talk to that baby. That's a child.
Not like 7 months, man. You're a preemie.
7 months, you're a preemie, but you can still have that baby.
Like this big.
But that's still a baby.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to justify what happened, because it's not my place to justify whether or not what a person should do with their life. It's just not. I'm an American, so first and foremost, what really gets me is when you're in a room full of people and someone else is telling them you need to do this, but then they tell you that they love freedom, that they love the Constitution.
Well, the whole thing is, everyone else needs to get their house fixed before they come looking at us like what we need to be fixing. Because you saw how when they talked about the opioid crisis, they just skimmed over that. They talked nothing about it. They asked them about the opioid crisis, which is affecting European Americans the most, and they just skimmed over. They didn't even talk about it. They talked about other stuff. So I mean, a lot of the stuff during the debate didn't get talked about because Donald Trump was trying to just defend. He's trying to make Joe Biden look bad, and Joe Biden's making himself look bad.
Made himself look horrible, man.
Yeah,
it was.
While Trump lied through the whole thing.
He didn't have to do anything to Joe Biden. You know what I mean? At all. Joe Biden did this to himself. He looked horrible.
The only time they used energy when they started talking about golf. That's what everyone was saying. Like, they was all both just, they were like, what? I'm a -6. No, you're 8. He's like, carry your own bag. I was like, oh, there's the energy we're looking for.
And so like I said, man, it was a horrible debate. But at the end of the day, me knowing what I know and what I believe, I would never vote for Trump because I believe that he's going to lead us down a path. We don't see the path, but there's things already brewing behind the scenes.
We already seen it. Like, it's crazy. Like, Obama had a bad one when he was going against Mitt Romney. And we were talking about this off camera, right? And you don't remember that. His hair was gray, but it was his anniversary. So he's trying to get through the speech. Michelle over there looking at him like, for real, go back and watch it. If you have time, go back and watch it. She was sitting there like, I'm about to tear your ass up.
So why do you think he had a bad debate? What did he do that was bad? I watched
Obama?
Debates. I remember when
he didn't have the energy. He didn't have the pizzazz. He wasn't, Mitt Romney's trying to attack him, and then Obama finally stopped. He's like, you just talking. He's like, I've done this. I'm the president right now. He's like, I'm making this. I'm running this. You haven't even done it. You haven't even made it to that level. He checked him. He checked him.
What happened is that.
Oh no! See, Joe Biden looked like he was about to have a stroke every time. And it didn't help that every time they said something about him, he put his head down. Then he looked up and confused. Then when they called him, he said he called black people super predators. That's when he was like, he showed some teeth. He was like, oh. We're talking about his son. He's like, he called them losers and suckers. And my son's not a loser and a sucker. I'm like, bro.
He had some good lines, but he couldn't get them out.
He couldn't get them out. I mean, if you listen to him, like I said before, we listen to him because we're going to report on it. Yeah. But if you're the novice person watching this, you're like, man, this man old as hell mumbling.
It was tough, man. I mean, that's bad.
I mean,